So today we'll be talking about internal validation, our internal validation. Don't forget that my last video, which is yesterday, my last live stream, I talked about external validation, what happened, and why we rely more on external validation than internal validation. So today I'll just be throwing a little light on the topic of yesterday before heading to the topic of today, which is internal validation. And yesterday we talked about what are external validation. External validation is the need to always want other people to confirm your worth and make decisions for you. And this can affect your worth and impact your self-esteem. And we talked about the ways to stop them. One, you need to understand the root of the need that you always want external validation. You always want confirmation or people to make decisions for you. The root, one of the roots might be exploring past experiences. You have to go back to the past, explore the past, have some conversation with yourself, and know if this some of this events started by with our childhood. Because in our childhood, even if you don't remember your childhood story or whatever, at least if you have kids or you have little ones around, you tend to understand that external validation most of the time, I would say 50 or 70% start from our childhood. We're always trying to do something to please our parents, try to get confirmation from our parents, try to get the validation from our parents to do something, or so that we'll get the praises, or do something good so we'll get the praises from our parents. And we also talked about cultivating internal validation. Cultivating internal validation in the sense of practicing self-awareness, like being aware when these feelings arise, when these thoughts arise, when you want to start relying on external validation, wanting other people to confirm your worth or make decisions for you. And I talked about from Mara Golding a quote that said, "Those who wait for external validation are the ones that move last." If you rely more on external validation, your movement in life will be slow because you'll be waiting for people to make decisions for you, to confirm your worth, to ask for confirmation on what to do and not to do. And this make your movement to be slow, or whatever you want to do to take more time than when you rely on your when you rely on yourself, on internal validation. Even if you made mistake, but at least you made the decision without waiting or relying on external validation. So on today's video, we'll be talking about internal validations. What are internal validations? But before we go there, thank you guys. Thank you, lovelies, for joining me, always watching my live videos. And if you're watching it on replay, don't forget that I got you. I love you and I always love you. If you always join me on my life, I also love you and I will always love you. Please don't forget to support me and leave me a red emoji for me to know that you watched this video to the end. Trust me, if you watch my video to the end, it's like it's helping me grow my channel so that I'll get monetized easily. Thank you so much. So we're shifting to today's topic. Let's leave those talks aside and go to today's topic. And like I said before, today's topic is internal validation. And go watch that video, please. You will get more understanding on what I said about external validation. So, because if you understand the both the external and the internal, you get more understanding and know how to regulate when you're doing too much of this, or you see that does not mean that you don't have to ask for, like, you don't have to ask for other people's opinion, but you get to know that when you're crossing the boundaries, when you're doing much, when you're lowering your self-esteem. So internal validation, I'll be telling you what the main meaning of internal validation, my own understanding, and also the importance of you relying on validating your own internal thoughts or decisions. Internal validation is the ability to feel worthy and accepted within yourself. Excuse me, guys. Internal validation. It's very simple. The I have other ways to say it, trust me, because I think I've done a video about this, about listening to your higher self, relying more on your higher self. I've done a video on this, but I didn't, this was not the perfect, this was not the a topic that, this was not the word that I used. I used a different word. So you can also go watch that video. I think it's listening to your higher self. I think that's the title. That was also powerful. So it's very simple. Internal validation is listening to your higher self, validating the ability to feel worthy within yourself and accept yourself within you without fighting or struggling with yourself that no, this decision that I want to make, I don't think it's good enough. Let me take it out for other people to make it for me. Mind you, when I say this, I'm repeating it again so you don't get me wrong. You asking for permission or opinion from other people does not mean that it's bad. It's just when you understand this part is that you have to know when there is a limit, when to stop, when you're doing it too much. Because when you rely more on external validation, you rely on compliment. Like you rely your compliment, likes on social media, friendship, accomplishment. Because of this, you don't tend to know your value and you do too much. So when you know about this, you know when you're doing too much, when to cross the line and set the boundaries and bring yourself back to alignment on the internal validation. So like I've mentioned before, internal validation is the ability to feel and accepted within oneself. So what are the importance of internal validation? Why is it important to validate our internal validation? Sometimes I say this, I ask myself, is this word correct? But I know lovely. I know that you understand what I'm saying. I know perfectly well that you understand what you're saying. Or we're going to shift the word to intuition, your higher self. You know the answer. The answer is already within you, but you just have to rely more on it. So, what are the important? One of them that I wrote here is that internal validation is the ability to acknowledge and appreciate one's feelings, one own what feelings and accomplishments without waiting for external confirmation. Mm. One of the important of you relying more on your internal validation, it it makes you to have the ability and acknowledge and appreciate your own worth, your feelings, the way you're feeling, without spreading the feelings, like understanding the way you're feeling, your worth, that you're good enough, you're capable enough, you are worthy enough, without waiting for people outside to confirm it to you that go for it, you're good enough, you can do it, or you're not good enough, you're not perfect in these skills, you're not perfect in this thing that you're doing, go change it. But when you have and rely on the internal validation, you don't have to wait for these people to tell you that these keys you are good on this thing that you're doing or you're not good on these things you're doing, because what they say would not be even important to you because you already know your worth and you have acknowledge your feelings and the ability to confirm your accomplishment without waiting for external validation or waiting for the outside world to tell you what you're good enough, what you're good for, or what you're not good enough for, who you are or who you're not, if you're worthy enough, if you're not worthy enough. So the next one said, developing self validation. Allow individual, when you develop self, the important is developing self validations allow individuals, allows me to build a stronger sense of self-worth and independence. When you validate or rely more on your internal validation, your higher self, your self-esteem, or the universe, your intuition to do things without waiting for the external validation to tell you what to do or not to do. It's stronger your sense of self-worth. It's stronger your self of self-worth in the sense of you now know that you are good enough, you're capable enough, you're worthy enough, you good enough to do that thing without waiting that people, without thinking that people is going to criticize you, even when we know that people is going to criticize, but at least you know that you're good and worthy enough. You already build those sense of self-worth, that you know that you're good enough, even if the external world tells you that you're not good enough, you know your potential, you know you're good enough. You've already built that courage, you've already enhanced those sense word to understand that these are just the external validation that we as humans seek for. But I already built my self worth to know that yes, I'm good enough, I'm worthy enough. Yes, I'm good enough to accomplish these things, even if the external world thinks I'm not good enough. But within me, I know that I'm good enough and I know my worth. You don't have to tell me my worth and you don't have to confirm it to me. And you cannot make decisions. This is the importance of internal validation. When you learn to rely more on internal validation to make decisions by yourself without waiting for other people to confirm it, you are not independent. It's just like you leaving your mom's and your dad's house, leaving your parents' home. You're not independent. You can do whatever you want to do. You can go out late and come back. You can buy whatever you want to buy when you start working with your money. You're not independent. You're not relying on anyone anymore. You're not independent to do whatever you want to do, make decisions that you want to make, even if the decisions does not work out. You not have the strong sense what to do these things without thinking that people are going to judge you, or people are going to think that this decision that you're going to make is not going to work for you or not work for you. You now have the sense and the strength and the power to make your decisions, to take decisions that you want to take without taking it out to the world for them to confirm it if the decision that you want to make is a right decision, is a good decision. The importance of relying more on internal validation, it make you independent, it make you know your worth, it make you validate yourself more, your feelings, you're good enough, you're worthy enough, without relying on other people to make those decisions for you. And when you make this decision, even if it work out or not, you know you made the decision and you took the decision by yourself without relying on people to take this decision for you. And when you rely more on your internal validation, you validate your worth. You know what is good for you and what is not good for you. You don't wait for other people to dictate how to live your life, how to take the next move, what to do and not to do. When you validate your internal validation, you know you're beautiful enough. You know you're good enough to take the step, to go for the positions. You know you're good enough to go for that job, for that business, to do whatever you want to do, because now you're not independent. You're not waiting for people to push you, to tell you go do it, because you're not independent. You can do this thing on your own with your strength. I'm not saying that you don't have to ask your opinion, but at least the first step and the first decision is going to be taken by you, not you sitting and waiting for people to tell you what to do, how to live your life, how to take care of your kids, how to live your marriage, how to live your relationship. You rely more, and 80% of this things, you rely more on social media to tell you how to live your life, how to look good, how not to look good, what to do with your life, what not to do with your life, and you take advices from the wrong places. Because when you rely more on external validation, you take advices from the wrong places and you don't notice that you're taking advices from the wrong places. Even when you see the right place or the right people to take advice from, you neglect them and go to take advices from the wrong people. When you validate your internal validation more, you know what is good for you and know what is not good for you, what you want and what you don't want. You know that you're beautiful enough, you're sexy enough, you're good enough. Like, for example, let me give you an example before I move to the last one. For example, I know that I'm beautiful enough. If, for example, someone tells me that you're not beautiful, you're ugly, you're that, what, I understand their feelings, I understand where they're coming from, I understand maybe they want to body shame me, or, for example, they have something going on with them at that time, going wrong with them at that time. I understand. I understand. I don't attach any feelings. That's your opinion, good for you, because I already know my self-worth and I already validate myself enough that I don't care what you say again. If, for example, you said I'm beautiful, you're not confirming it to me, because I've already confirmed it to myself. I've already validated my internal worth, and I know that I'm beautiful, not because I'm being rude to you, but I'll still say thank you, not because I'm being rude, but I don't want it to be as if I'm waiting for you to confirm it to me that I'm beautiful. I know that I'm beautiful, but you don't have to confirm. If, for example, I don't know my worth. That's where I'm waiting for you to confirm it to me. I'm looking like I'm doing my best. I'm adding extra time to have beauty to myself so that I can come to you for you to confirm it to me. So that I can post a photo so that you can comment on my photos and say you're beautiful, so that I'll be all over you. They said I'm beautiful, beautiful. When I know my self-worth, I don't care if I post a video, I don't even get any like, because I know my self-worth. I know that I'm beautiful enough. And even if you confirm it to me to say you're beautiful, it's not that I'm being rude. I'm not being rude, but I've already validated my internal validation that I know my self-worth. I know what I want. I know that I'm good enough, I'm beautiful enough, I'm worthy enough, I'm sexy enough, without waiting for you to validate it for me. So when I say rely more on your internal validation, this is what I mean. Rely more on your internal validation rather relying more on your external validation, because it's going to do you not good. And don't forget, before I go to the last one, it's those who wait for external validation are the ones who move last, because you're sitting and you're waiting for the external forces, the external people to make decisions for you, to tell you do the business, to tell you just move, or to tell you you're not good enough to take that step, you're not good enough to do that business. You're waiting for them when you're supposed to move in miles if you take the decision on your own and you rely more on your external validation. So the last one, the importance of relying on your internal validation, it involves recognizing and appreciating one's own values. When you rely more on your internal validation, it involves you to recognize and appreciate your value. When you know your value, you know when to cut off the relationship. When you know your values, you know when to take a move. When you know your value, you know when to set boundaries. When you know your values, you know when to say bye. When you know your values, you know when to speak and not to speak. When you know your values, you know when people are crossing the boundaries for you, which they are not supposed. When you know the values, you know when people are disrespecting you and when to stop. And appreciate one's own value. And when you know and recognize and appreciate one's own value, you recognize and appreciate your strengths, and you recognize and appreciate your accomplishment. When you know your worth, you don't wait for other people to tell you what you've accomplished. You already know what you've accomplished, and you recognize and you celebrate all your accomplishments, even if it's small. But when you don't know your value, when you don't know your value, you don't recognize your accomplishments, you don't recognize your progress, you don't recognize the good things that's happening. But you're waiting for the external validation to tell you that well done, you've done well, a tap on the back. But when you know your value, you recognize your value, you get sometimes to tap yourself on the back to tell you that you've done well, you're accomplishing something, you're moving to the right side, you're doing something good. You don't wait for other people to lay praises, to praise you, to motivate you, to tell you that you're doing well, to move on, because you already know that you're doing well. And you continue doing what you're doing, and you recognize your accomplishment, and you celebrate every single progress that you've made. Yes, I've just said it. Something that I wanted to read, I've already said it and explained it. So guys, don't forget, let me quickly recap. Like I said about, I did a little bit of a light on the topic that I said yesterday, which is internal validation, external validation, and today we talked about internal validation. Internal validation, I said internal validation is the ability to feel worthy and accepted within oneself, which accepted within yourself and myself. And I said the importance of internal validation is one. Internal validation is the ability to acknowledge and appreciate one's worth, feelings, and without waiting for accomplishment, without waiting for external confirmation. And then the other one, I said developing self-validation allows individual to build a stronger sense of worth and independence. Independence makes you to make your decision without waiting for people to make it for you. And the last one that I said this involves recognizing and appreciating one's own value. This helps to recognize and appreciate your values and celebrate every progress that you've made and give yourself a tap on the back to say yes, you're doing well, you're moving in the right places, you're moving in the right place, you're on the right track. So continue going. So, like I've said before, this quote, I think I've said this quote thousands of times, and I know you're tired of hearing it, but I'm still going to say it. Those who wait for external validation are the ones who move last. And we don't have time to move last. Trust me, we don't have time to spend years, months, days waiting for people to validate to validate us or make confirm our decision or make decisions for us, where we can rely more on ourselves to make those decisions and just move and go and do that thing that you want to do. Buy those beautiful shoes, those dresses, those hair without waiting for people to tell you you're good enough or you're beautiful enough to start or to do it. You understand? So lovely. Stay blessed. Stay calm. Stay lovely. I'll see you tomorrow again on my video. Bye bye. Thanks for joining me again. Please leave me a wonderful comment and leave me a red emoji for me to know you watch this video to the end, and I will really appreciate it. See you tomorrow again. Bye.